one of the organizers of this fascinating event, along with Judy McLaughlin and Jane D'Alessandro and Lindsay Rosen. Judy and Jane are teachers here at the high school, and Lindsay is a student who is chair and founder of the Westfield High School Green Team. I'm a member of all the other sponsors, the League of Working Voters, Westfield Green Team, Beacon Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Summit, and the Faith Action New Jersey. As you might expect, at a League of Women Voters event, there is a registration table outside with materials for voter registration and for requests for early voting. So if you're interested in either of those, you can pick up materials on the way out. Now I know, because you're here, that you take an interest in the environment and you're well informed on the environment. But discussion of things like greenhouse gases and clean energy technologies can get a little arcane. So you may hear some mystifying terminology tonight. For that reason, we provided cheat sheets for you, and I hope the yellow sheets, and I hope we've managed to include most of the terms that will be used in that. So now, I'd like to introduce Jon Bramnick, a Westfielder, and the Republican leader of the New Jersey Assembly, and he is going to welcome you to Westfield and introduce you.
Good evening and welcome. I thought I would give you kind of an overview on being involved in politics and how to affect change in politics, because I've now spent 15 years in the legislature, and as the Republican leader in the House, I've kind of learned how things get done or not done. First, let me tell you, from the environmental area, I have a live-in lobbyist, my wife, who is an environmental artist. And you can go to patbrentano.com and you can see that you do not have to worry about lobbying me. This is a 24-hour-a-day job for my wife. My daughter's an artist as well. I went to Rhode Island School of Design, and my son's a lawyer. So we have both sides of the brain interacting on Watchung Fork in Westfield. And it's an interesting combination, and it seems to have worked very well because I've been married for 37 years, and the communication is just perfect. Left side of the brain and right side of the brain interacting. So here, I just started a website called Rally the Reasonable. And the reason I did that, and you can look at this website, is because my concern with politics is somehow extremes seem to rule the day. And what I've seen from the media is they only want to put things on television or in the newspaper that are controversial. In other words, if they call me and I take a reasonable position, something in the middle, you will never see that in a newspaper. You will never see that on cable television because it doesn't sell newspapers and it doesn't bring people to watch cable. That's unfortunate because the discussion should be about how we come to the middle on all issues, including environmental issues. It's not an overnight proposition. The problem becomes that people who talk reasonably are boring. But Tom Kean Sr. once said that 70% of the people in New Jersey want you to govern from the middle. So I am trying my best now to organize this group of what I think is most people. Most people are willing to listen. Most people are willing to compromise. Most people come to a consensus, and we move forward. I'm hoping this works. I'm optimistic, but I'm cautiously optimistic. So let's talk about what you should do. We are underutilized as legislators. Let me say that again. We are underutilized as legislators. If you have a problem, I do not care what the problem is. It is likely that a legislator, such as myself, can help. Why is that? I don't care if it's a problem with your cable company, with your electric company, other than airplanes, which is regulated by the federal government, I can pretty much get anyone on the phone. So if you're having some problem with some entity, it doesn't have to be a public entity. We are able to reach that entity, and we're able to resolve your problem. My mom from Florida used to call and say, I have this issue, I can't reach anybody, and they wanted to call a lawyer. Now, I'm a lawyer, and I'd like to have full employment for lawyers. But legislators, and that's to say nothing about your local council people, and I saw Mark LaGrippo here, the councilman, or your mayor. When you're talking about a massive utility or a massive entity, or of course, a government entity, we can get through. So please make sure, and my office is in Westfield, so is Tom Kane's office, Nancy Munoz is in Summit. You can reach out and you can use our services. Now let's talk about change and how to affect change. Call my office and say, I really want to meet with the assemblyman, the minority leader. I meet with you. There's a former chief of staff for the governor. When she was a councilwoman, she called me and she said, I'd like to meet with you. And I met with her. And when she came in, she goes, oh, it's really nice you met with me. I go like this, I'll meet with anybody. She goes, oh, I thought I was special. The truth of the matter is, that's my job. I work for you. So consequently, we, as my wife would say, you are not royalty, okay? Just because they give you a pin and they give you special license plates so you get in the State House, I'm just a government employee who's hired by you or fired by you. So if you call and say, look, you may want to leave a message, that's fine. But if you want to meet, I'm happy to meet with you. The only thing I don't do, I don't meet with crazy people. Meaning that if you're simply going to yell at me and freak out and scream, it doesn't work because I can't hear you because you're screaming. That's why they bring a trooper with me most of the time, because some people just get out of hand. It is not helpful to scream and yell. What is helpful, and this is the other thing people do, they come up to you and they begin to lecture you about what you have to do. That's fine. But maybe you want to ask me because I'm in the pit. And I can kind of tell you where that is, but if you simply stand there and scream at me for a half an hour, what have you learned except you repeated your own position in front of me, which you already know, which isn't really helpful to you, and as far as I'm concerned, it's not a discussion. A discussion is when we interact. So when this panel comes up, what I like to see is a real discussion where is the middle ground? Because it simply won't be one way or the other. It never is. And unfortunately, whether it's Democrat, Republican, Independent, Green Party, the answers are somewhere in the middle. And let me conclude on this. The thing that gets me completely nuts is people think they have the absolute answer. Are you that smart? I never think, even if I have an opinion, I'm not 100% sure of that opinion. There's always room to listen. So I would say I'm here to listen tonight. I do have to go to one other event because I have to be reasonable and respond to other invitations and be reasonably available. But I will stay for a period of time, but I'm happy to meet with you. As I said, you can find me. My home number's listed. If you call my law office, my cell phone's on my answering service at my law office, so you can find me. I think this is a great idea, this kind of interaction. I'm happy to help, and I really appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody. Thank you so much.
So I'm going to continue lobbying you on the environment anyway. Okay, now Judy McLaughlin will introduce the rest of the program.